Do you sit with your kids and decide at the beginning of a term or time frame with them to determine what is required to accomplish each day? For example, math 3 days a week, spelling 2 days a week. You choose how frequently it is required, and they choose when it gets done. So, yeah, I will basically every semester have a time, and again, it's loose depending on our own travel life schedule, but at some point during the year, a couple times I sit down and first I spend time myself. I think about what they have been doing, what they are perhaps struggling in, like, well, this kid's really struggling in spelling or whatever. And I will brainstorm some ideas. And then I will research potential curriculum sources that I find valuable or interesting or doable. And then I'll kind of present it to them. And, we'll have a dialogue or discussion about it. But then I will come up with a chart that basically outlines the expectations. And at some point, like, I really feel like I'm pretty fair. I don't require a lot as far as the must do. And so it's kind of if you want the privileges, you do it. If you don't want the privileges, okay, you don't have to do it. But, for me, the privileges are they don't get any device time. They don't get to watch any movies. And sometimes, like for my youngest, she doesn't get a snack until she's done some certain things, right? Because she'll just snack all day long. And so I'm like, no more snacks until you've done 2 classes, right? So, and I call that privilege-based accountability. So, if they come to me asking for a privilege, that's my opportunity to check in with them to say, oh, have you done these things on your chart, right? So that's kind of how I do it. I'm not that specific as far as like math 3 days a week or whatever.
You will get that specific
If
occasionally.
I need to,
Yeah.
I generally only I'm kind of this bare minimum approach, right? If the bare minimum will get by, that's what I go with. If it doesn't work, then I get more detailed. Because sometimes I'll realize, oh, they're not doing math because, and this has happened, their math video is like an hour long, and that's too long. They don't want to sit for an hour doing just math. And so then I realized, oh, okay, so you really should only do math like once or twice a week. And then that's when I'll get specific in that way. I'll say, okay, math's only twice a week. And then on those days, you don't have to do the other things. So I'll get specific if it's required. If I realize they're not doing the subject and I figure out why, then I come up with a more detailed solution to help it get done. Currently, yeah, but well, just to finish, currently it's basically like they have the self-paced classes. It's through Accelis Academy is what I'm using. And basically they do a little bit of everything every day. They check it off. That's it. They're done. That's the requirement. Allowing them to be in charge of their education, even when they're young, meaning the timing, obviously they're not 100% in charge of it. They have direction, but the timing and the place and all of those things, it's giving them this control so that they learn to take that control. And as they mature, they take more and more control. So for my 17-year-old daughter, I actually did it the opposite way around. She had been doing Accelis Academy, didn't really love it. But last year, while we traveled to 17 countries, she read 128 books. Okay. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, her education's not suffering, right? Like she's doing great. She had also been doing the minimum of Accelis Academy. But when we got back from Tanzania last month, we just had a chat and she's not in love with it. She loves reading. She loves doing lots of other things. And so I was just like, you give me the schedule you want. You make the list and I'll make the chart, right? And so she did. She wrote down an entire list of all the things she wanted to do and I turned it into a chart. So it was kind of the other way around. I didn't tell her. Now at this point, 17, there's no math on her schedule, which I'm like, okay, it's fine. I don't care if there's math. Math's not your thing. But she has lots of books about religion and psychology and business and, all of these other topics that she's really interested in. And for me, especially at her age, she's already covered the basics. I'm totally fine with that. She doesn't need to study math anymore because she's got the math she needs to.
She may come back to it.
Right.
But
And we've talked about using, like, now Duolingo has this cool math thing that even I've been doing because, you know, it's fun. We've talked about doing that. There's other options, but so in that case, it was the other way around where she made the list and then I made the chart rather than me making the chart and presenting it to her. And then with, say, you know, our two older boys, their schedule is completely their own. They've made it all, but they're up in the morning studying. They're doing tons of
Just devouring.
all kinds of scriptures, tons of Jordan Peterson, tons of books.
Great classics,
but it's
personal
all
development, business.
Like it's them. They're making their own schedule. They're following their own routine. But the point is that's what it can grow into when they learn to be in control of their education.
Ooh, what?
They're the ones that decide what they're learning, when they're learning, how much they're learning. You know, our oldest son just left this week. And basically from morning to night, he was spending all of his time studying. That was it. He's been staying with us for 3 months and and traveling with us. But when we're at home, that's what he's doing.
Even when we were out.